She would manage. Hadn't she always managed? She was determined not to be a burden to her uncle, the vague, shadowy man she knew only from letters, whom she had last seen when barely 3. There would be work for her, she reasoned, perhaps on the horse farm her uncle had written of so often over the years. Her ability to work with animals was innate, and she had absorbed a varied knowledge of medicine through her experiences, her skill being such that she had often been called on to aid in a difficult calving or stitch up a rent hide. She was strong, despite her diminutive stature, and she reminded herself with an unconscious squaring of shoulders, she was a Cunnane. Surely, she told herself with more confidence, there would be a place for her at Royal Meadows, where her uncle worked as a trainer for the Thoroughbred racing stock. There'd be no fields needing plowing, no cows needing milking, but she'd earn her bread and butter if she had to work as a scullery maid. She wondered suddenly, with a small frown, if they had scullery maids in America. The plane touched down, and Adelia disembarked and entered the Dulles terminal in Virginia, where she found herself gaping in confusion, fascinated by the scene, confused by the babble of foreign tongues, the odd mixture of people. Her eyes lingered over an East Indian family in full native dress. She turned to observe 2 teenagers in faded denims strolling by hand in hand, followed by a scurrying, middle-aged businessman clutching a leather briefcase. Later, standing in the lobby, she looked around, hoping to see a familiar face. Everyone rushing and hurrying, she thought. A body could be trampled and never seen again. Dee, little Dee. A man hurried toward her, a stockily built, compact man with a full thatch of curling gray hair, and she caught a glimpse of eyes as bright and blue as her father's before she was enveloped in a warm, crushing hug. The thought occurred to her that it had been a lifetime since anyone had held her so close. Little Dee, I would have known you anywhere. He pulled back and studied her face, eyes misty, smile tender. It's like looking into Kate's face again. It's the image of your mother you are. He continued to stare at her while she searched for her voice, his gaze taking in the deep, rich auburn hair, falling in gleaming waves to her shoulders, the large, deep green of thickly lashed eyes, the tip-tilted nose and full mouth, which Aunt Letty had described as impudent, the face now of a startled pixie. What a beautiful sight you are, he said at last on a sigh of pure pleasure. Uncle Patrick? She asked, finding a multitude of questions and emotions racing through her. And who else would you be thinking I might be? He looked down at her with those well-remembered eyes, filled with love and laughter, and doubts, fears, and questions vanished in a wave of joy. Uncle Paddy, she whispered as she flung her arms around his neck. As they drove along the highway from the airport, Adelia stared about her in fresh amazement. Never had she seen so many cars, and all flying by at an outrageous speed. Everything moved so fast, and the noise, she marveled silently, the noise was enough to wake the dead. Shaking her head, she began to bombard her uncle with questions. How far was it they were going? Did everyone drive so fast in America? How many horses were at Royal Meadows? When could she see them? Questions buzzed in her mind and through her lips, and Patty answered them tolerantly, finding the soft lilt of her voice as sweet as a summer breeze. Where is it all be working? He removed his eyes from the road a moment and glanced at her. There's no need for you to be working, Dee. Oh, but Uncle Paddy, I must, she disagreed, turning to face him. I could work with the horses. I've a way with animals. Thick gray brows drew together in a doubtful frown. I didn't bring you all this way to be putting you to work. Before she could protest, he went on, and I don't know what Travis would be thinking about me hiring my own niece. Oh, but I'd do anything. She brushed back masses of chestnut hair. Groom the horses, muck out the stalls, cart hay, it doesn't matter. Unknowingly, she used her eyes in an outrageous manner. Please, Uncle Paddy, it's crazy I'd be in a week, not having some sort of work to do. Her eyes won the small back.